Just the all-important team news ahead of tomorrow. Anybody?
Adam Lallana's out, which is a shame because I think he would have loved to have been back on the pitch at a place he had a really good time at for 4 years or so. So Adam's out and Paul's being assessed. So fingers crossed Big Paul will come through all right. It's not a bad injury at all, which is really good news for us. Just a niggle, so hopefully we can manage that and he can be involved.
And Adam, just this week, not too serious?
I think Adam's going to be a couple of weeks, so probably the next couple of games I would have thought, yeah.
What have the players been like in the day since Sunday?
No
doubt, hugely disappointed in the defeat and the way they lost, but quite a lot to be heartened about as well. So it's a weird one. If you'd said to them 3-2 before the game, they might have even taken it.
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody else would have taken a loss before the game. If any of them would have taken it, I think we're in the wrong league, in the wrong business. I think their reaction to disappointment on the whole this season has been great. We've had too much disappointment, but they train so well. They train like beasts. They're so together. They enjoy what they do. I think we enjoy working with them. So I like their reaction. I like their reaction a lot. My glasses are sweating up because I've just been for a run. But yeah, no, I like a lot about the group that I see. So much the way they're growing, and despite a tough result and in a tough manner as well in the end against the best team in the league at the moment, there's a lot to be positive about, and I think the team is growing a lot and they're showing real adaptability in certain moments, but we have to manage other moments a bit better than we do, because that's what's really cost us. But on the whole, they're good and they're in a good place, and they give us a lot of confidence in what we're doing.
When you go through it in analysis, like you look at the way you conceded, what sort of conversations do you have, and what do you instill in them to try and make it not happen again?
Every goal is different, so I think.
Talk to me about the first goal, maybe.
I know that's the one you were talking about, so let's ask me about it.
The second one is unfortunate, but
the second one's a real moment of quality from Salah. Yeah. We shouldn't allow someone that time to put their head up and hit the ball. Alex may be disappointed with his positioning.
Should we go back to the first one?
Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
When you're going through that, what are you saying? Because you can't play every minute for them.
I said after the game, I took responsibility for it because I asked them to play quickly, but at that point we defended for a few minutes. All of Liverpool's players were around our box, and we played quickly a few times to a real advantage to us, but at that moment it's not. So I just have to make it clearer. There are times to do it and times not to do it. It still shouldn't end up how it ends up. But yeah, we scored a beautiful goal from the lads, showing real composure defending a set play. That if they just clear it, we don't score. So it's risk and reward and all that. It's what's got us to the Premier League. The lads' willingness to play and show courage to play and intensity to play. But it just wasn't quite right. The detail of it, the timing of it, the way Mateus received the ball, wasn't ready to receive it, and then feeling under real pressure there to make that decision. It's just unfortunate. But I never criticise the players for a mistake if the intention's right. And the intention at that point was to try and play quickly to upset Liverpool. Just the wrong time. So the process is the same. I have to show them why it's not the right time and make them understand why, and try and avoid the same mistake again.
Do you think they are getting it? Do you think they are learning?
Yeah, I think we play some brilliant football. I think they show brilliant courage. I think we have some young players who are growing and improving all the time that have to play in a certain way to do that, to really achieve their potential and maximise what they have. So yeah, results and outcome will dictate that at some point. But what I'm seeing from them, the willingness to still do it and be themselves and to keep doing it and to actually have a lot of success with it against the best team in the league as well at moments, then I can be really happy about that. I can be disappointed with the goals. But yeah, and the third one is a penalty that Yuki's just really unfortunate with.
Just finally from me, a word on Brighton. I know you obviously live there, don't you? You spend a bit of time there. You've seen the emergence of a football club that can go second in the Premier League tomorrow night. So it's an incredible story, isn't it? What they keep doing. They've got a model, they've got a vision. You kind of just replace the people, but the wheels keep going round, don't they? Yeah,
so I think they obviously had very good purpose at the beginning about the stadium and trying to get to the Premier League in a sustainable way. Chris did an amazing job to get them there. So the club is very different to the one I supported as a kid, and played that for a very brief time as a kid. But the one thing they have done is they're so clear in their strategy and their plan and what they want. And I think the best part of that football club is their talent ID, whether it's staff, players, and the model of what they want to be. So Graham inherited a brilliant group from Chris and did it in his own way. Then Roberto inherited a brilliant platform and basis from Graham, and now Fabian's got an incredible platform to build from with what Roberto's left and has put his own spin on it. So they never deviate too far. They have a really clear plan. They stick to it and they keep growing and keep building. It's a brilliant model. I think so many clubs try and emulate and copy that without really understanding what gets them there, because every club is different. So they've done it in a way, and it's been a long-term thing. That it's been a very it's not like a short. Having knowing a lot of people that work there, it's not a short-term plan that's all of a sudden come together in the last few years. It's been a very long-term process with a lot of good people and a lot of good players. So they can just keep adding and building. It's not surprised me how well they're doing with the quality they have in the squad.
Chris? Ross, you say that the clubs try to emulate and copy what Brighton have done, the great work they've done. Would you say this club has tried to do that in parts at times?
No, we're doing it in our own way. We're doing it in our own way. So I think if you don't, we're trying to build from last season. There was a lot of change, leadership, ownership. So we're at the very early stages of our process. Very different to Brighton in terms of where the clubs were when the owners took over and all that stuff. So no, we're very different. We're trying to do it in our own way. We're trying to be different, and it is a long-term plan. I really believe that I came in at the start of a long-term plan as the guy that was asked to bring something short-term to get promoted to Premier, but being a long-term plan in terms of the academy, player development, what comes through, staff development for people to go on and do better things and maybe then come back and be ready to be in bigger roles. So. And I'm really enjoying being part of that process. I'm really enjoying it, but we are very early on in that process. Brighton are a long way down the line, so you can't. Of course, you can take good bits from everyone and anyone, and try and put your own spin on it. But very much the plan is the owners and myself with the football, and then the guys in and around that. So I'm enjoying that, and the plan hasn't deviated despite the disappointment so far this season. We're still really trying to work hard on building the football club and giving it a really solid platform, whatever the results are.
I know football and sport and life can blur the lines sometimes, but what does Brighton as a city mean to you? Your foundation obviously is based there now, your links with there have been mentioned already.
Yeah, I love the place. My hometown, I'm biased. I think it's one of the best places in the country. I think it's diverse. I think it's multicultural. I think it's inclusive. I think it's very different to a lot of places. And I think when the sun's shining in particular, it's beautiful.
When you were growing up and you said you played for Brighton for a short time, obviously, was it your dream to play for Brighton's first team?
I think so. When you were a kid, back then you had two teams, and when I went to Swansea I understood that they had that as well. So you supported your local team, and we were there in League 2 at the time, and you had a Premier League club. So, but I used to go and watch them at the Goldstone, then at Withdean. I think I ventured up to the Priestfield when they were playing there once or twice. Couldn't afford a ticket to Withdean, so a lot of the time I ended up in the trees and being told to get down by the police. So you just have to sit up there for 90 minutes to get a sore bum. But I of course it's a dream. But I love going back there as an opposition player, and then the manager I did it with Swansea, and I'm really looking forward to it now because I have a lot of people in the crowd that I know that will no doubt shout some abuse at me. My kids are desperate for me to win because they all go to school with all Brighton fans, and they'll be in their Southampton shirts and their tracksuits. And I split my time between there and here. So. Because I love being part of this club and being part of this city and being part of all of this, but my kids are in Brighton, they go to school there, so of course I have to have a home there as well. So yeah, it'll mean a lot to a lot of people around me, but it's a game we're desperate to win, and all the rest will come after, I'm sure. And I enjoy going back, and as I said, we're just desperate to go and win a game.
And how hard will that be? I mean, in terms of where they are on the table, they've played pretty much everybody at the top already and are still fifth in the table. Have you been pleasantly surprised? Well, pleasantly is not the right word. Have you been surprised with how quickly Fabian Hurtzler has adapted to this league?
I don't think so. I think they obviously recruited him for a reason, and like I said, they have a good plan, and it seems to go seamlessly whenever they change something. So, not really. And as I said, I think he would be the first one to give a lot of credit to Roberto and what he left with that team, the squad, the belief in what they were doing, the clarity in what they're doing, because they still do so much of that. But Fabian's put his own spin on it as well, with a real lot of high intensity, a bit forward, a bit quicker. They counter press relentlessly. So I think for him it must have been a beautiful job to take on with the ingredients he already had. and then to put your own spin on that, he's done incredibly well. So they have seasoned Premier League players. They have recruited very, very well, as I said, and they have a lot of threat, but so do we. And I think we're off the back of a really good performance. So Andy Croft's a very good friend of mine, who's one of his assistants, speaks very highly of him. We haven't spoken this week or last week because we have a game and we're going to compete, but I'm sure we'll catch up again after it.
You're on a little run of taking on new managers at clubs. Arne Slot this week, Fabian Herzler, next week Enzo Maresca. Does that make it harder in any way that there's not so much of a back catalogue of them in situ where they are now with the players they've got?
No, I don't think so, because there was a back catalogue at their previous clubs. So we played against Enzo last year. We've watched some of Fabian's stuff, and the same with Arne Slot. And then you have to have a look at their most current games and what's really relevant and their most recent performances, and we do that of anyone. So it's all different. Every team is different, but there are obviously key ingredients and key patterns with certain managers that will be the same throughout. So we have a brilliant analysis department here, and we spend a lot of time working with them on trying to analyse opposition, how primarily we can try and hurt them and how we can stop them and what their threats are.
Just last couple from me. You mentioned at the start you'd just been for a run before you came in here. I was going to ask you about how you take yourself away from the intensity of all of this and maintain clarity of thought. Going for a run is obviously one of them. What other things are you doing to make sure that you are in the best place to make the best decisions?
I think just maintain perspective and gratitude all the time at the job we're in. So football is really important. It's meant everything to most of us in this building since we were very, very young, but also to understand it's not everything that defines who you are and what you are. If that was defined purely by outcome and media noise and all that stuff, it'd be a pretty sorry existence, I think. So to maintain perspective, spend time with the people you love, to enjoy what we do, to do something we believe in and enjoy and feel proud of, I think is really important. But yeah, try and run as much as I can and switch off. I'll run along the seafront tomorrow at some point and maybe have a dip in the sea if I have time, and then get ready for the game.
Are you willing to put your 5k time on record?
Not today, no.
Just the last one. From your interactions and your experiences, what's your impression of how the fan base are feeling at the moment here?
Well, I don't know. I'm reliant on Jordan a lot to tell me what the narrative is on social media and stuff like that. My feeling is inside the stadium they've been brilliant, and the people I bump into in Southampton and Winchester and even on the run yesterday, we went on a run yesterday, a couple of staff members, and someone took the time to stop their car and say they really believe in what we're doing and they really enjoy it. So I feel like they're really with us. I think they understand. I think they're seeing a team that is really fighting and working hard for each other and is desperate to give everything they can for the shirt. And I think that's all you can ever want. Listen, there'll always be some people who disagree with playing style or substitutions or personnel who are playing and some aren't. That's football, isn't it? Like, everyone is entitled to their opinion, and but the fans, I can only speak from my experience and my interactions with them and the feeling in the stadium. And since we've been here, they've been immense and been brilliant for us. And hopefully that will continue. And I hope we give them, it's a local game tomorrow. We have a lot of people travelling. They travel so well, our supporters, and so I hope we can give them another moment and another night to celebrate and remember.
There were some final third positives against Liverpool. Obviously, you scored 2 goals. We talked about the improvement as the season goes on, and you've seen bits of that. So what is it you need to take to Brighton to up again to be competitive with them?
Well, I think we have to respect that we were playing against the best team in the league at the moment as well. So we had some real moments where we really affected them and looked really strong. And I think that was the thing we asked for most after Wolves, was that improvement, with the willingness to run to goal and actually make things happen and test the goalkeeper and make them defend. And our second goal was testament to that, with the running power of Tyler, willingness to run and take the ball, and Armour and Matty as well. It's a really good goal. So we have to bring all of it. Like, you can't bring one thing in the Premier League and not have another. We have to bring everything to the table tomorrow. Aggression with the ball speed, willingness to take the ball, whatever shape we play. We tweaked the shape for Liverpool because I thought it would help us. It might look different again tomorrow. So I think whoever's on the pitch, all of it. And a performance of real courage and intensity, and that's always what it'll be based off, with and without the ball. And if we do that, we have a good chance of beating anyone in this league. I think we've come so close against the best team so far. We're now playing a team that's right up there again, and it's a brilliant challenge.
If you don't get the result you want, you're right. I speak to a lot of people anecdotally. They like the football. They're into the project. You just talked about the long-term thing that you're at the start of. How fragile do you feel sometimes if you don't get the results? Do you feel beleaguered? Because you've got obviously can't translate that to the players.
Fragile in terms of
worrying
job
about
or
your,
myself?
Yeah, job and stuff, and how you keep maintain your parity all the time when it's up and down.
Yeah, it's a good question. In terms of like job security and all that stuff, I think when you become a manager and at this level as well, you understand like the precarious nature of it. But then I have to trust the feeling inside the building, the people and the owners and the conversations we have and the communication we have. And I don't feel anything but support from everyone. The supporters, the staff here, the ownership, they've been brilliant. So I think I have to go off that feeling. And if that feeling changed at some point, maybe I would feel a bit more fragile, a bit more concerned. But also I think it just comes back to like, we know who we are, we know what we're here to do. We are trying our very best to do that. And I think, like I said to you so many times, we try and manage it with the love and care as if it was ours. If the boys were our own, the players, and give it everything we've got. And it is hard work, and you do have sleepless nights, and because you care so much. But you just have to trust that eventually that will pay off, and it will come good, and it always has done so far. So I think just have to hope it will be the same again.
I love the way you described Brighton, and it is a diverse place, and it's been a sort of country leader in acceptance and inclusion for sure. And it's Rainbow Laces weekend this weekend. As a young manager who's been in dressing rooms as a player for many years, do you see the culture of the way people think about those different areas of society in football being accepted more within the sport as well as that?
I hope so, and it's our job to make sure like whatever type of discrimination it is that we call it out as dads and coaching staff here and all that stuff. But I think there's always going to be like difference of opinion and cultural differences and all that stuff. And I remember arguing with players in my career when I was playing about certain comments that were made and stuff like that, especially being from Brighton and being from a city that is where you grow up being used to seeing certain things that other people may not see when they grow up. So I think it is changing, but I think there's still so much work to do. I think last week we wore a white ribbon during the game for domestic violence. This week we'll wear the rainbow flag for homophobia and all of that. So there's always work to do and there's always stuff to do. But I think in terms of I feel lucky to be where I'm from because I feel like a lot more accepting and diverse than a lot of places, and hopefully we'll keep moving forward and keep progressing with all of it.
Just finally, one of the things we all smiled about last Sunday was some of the reactions from the crowd of Paul Onuachu's skills, and then I
didn't see the no-look pass until afterwards. So, yeah.
And of course he got injured, and I did have a quick word with him as I saw him, and he wasn't too sure how long he'd be out. But what is the situation with him? Because we talk about the classic thing of players being better when they're not playing. He got on the pitch and made quite an impression. So how is he?
Well, he did brilliantly, and he seems to be fine, recovering quite nicely. We had it scanned straight away because it was a bit of a worry. But yeah, it's not anything serious at all. So he will hopefully be involved tomorrow. If not, then we'll assess him for Wednesday. But yeah, we're all hopeful that he can be involved, the big man. And he had a brilliant impact because he brings something completely different. He's had to work so hard to get used to what we want from him. And with Paul, a lot of it was trying to get him to do a bit less and be really effective in what we were asking him to do. And he's so willing to work hard and improve. And it's been a shame how it's worked out for him so far here, but he is desperate to make an impact and love the way he trains, love his attitude, and he has real tools that can help us for sure.
Was it finally for me, because it was Liverpool that he had to spend so much time working hard in his own box, can you find ways to get him facing the goal more closer to the opponent?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, I think we just have to accept that we're playing against one of the best teams in the league at that point, but there'll be games where he will really come into his own, and there'll be games where we need something different. And we have a few different options now, and he's given us another one to really consider, and he has to just stay where he's at. And what's got him in the team ultimately is his willingness to train, how hard he works in training, how many goals he ends up scoring in training. He's been desperate to play. So I'm pleased for him. But now we need to try and get him on the pitch tomorrow if we can, and if not, as soon as we possibly can.
Okay, for 10:30,
Just following on Paul if I can. It's quite unusual, I suppose, for a player to make their first and second starts 18 months apart for a club. There was a report in Belgium today that suggested Club Brugge, for example, might want to try and buy him in January. From your perspective, do you want him here for the entire season?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it'd be if he was going to go, it was going to be in the summer for the club then to for Paul to be happy where he ended up, and for the club to maybe reinvest some money. And at the time, it was a few clubs interested. But none of them anywhere near serious enough for us to consider. And I think Paul was just caught in limbo a little bit. I think he thought he was going to leave and it hadn't quite worked out. Last summer he was here for probably, well, not long, 5 or 6 weeks before he was going. The whole time it was planned that he was going to go because he'd cost a lot of money, and there was, he wanted a challenge at the top level if he could. But he was brilliant, he was respectful. And then, so January, I'm sure there'll be a few people that are interested in him, but I'm sure there'll be a few people kicking themselves that they didn't quite want him enough in the summer. But for me, if Paul's happy, we're really happy and want him here, and he can help us achieve what we want to achieve.
You've talked a lot about the goals that you scored in Liverpool already, but it's a brilliant counter-attack for the first or the second one. I can't remember. Same for the winner against Everton. You've spoken about maybe they didn't play it forward quickly at the right time against Liverpool for that first goal. But it's the message from you still to play it forward quickly as much as you can. Yeah,
I think so. It has been. I know that sometimes it will take 20 passes, sometimes it will take 2. It's just about understanding the moment. So even if we're making more passes and taking a bit more time in our final third, it's one because of the opposition doing a really good job, or we haven't done it quite well enough, or we're just waiting for the moment where we can. So I think that's always going to be the message. And the second goal is such good quality from all the players involved, but mostly their willingness to run forward at a real high speed and outrun their opponent to goal. So I think we have to maintain that mentality all the time.
You talk about social media. There seems to be some kind of perception that you would be annoyed if one of your players kicked it long. To put it frankly, is that true? Or would you actually just prefer a player, if they find themselves in trouble, just to play it out to safety?
I'd much prefer the ball in off the pitch than to their Szoboszlai and bent it in the corner. If that's the perception and reality, really far apart. The players know what they are being asked to do. If we play it long on our terms, no problem at all. If we play it long because we've had to, I'm not going to get annoyed, but we're going to understand why we're doing it. I think even if we're playing a pass without purpose, or a pass that we don't really believe in or want to play, then we're always going to try and reflect on it and learn from it. So I think every pass needs to be as much as we can on our terms, whether it's short, long, sideways, backwards, forwards. So that is nonsense that I'd be annoyed with one long pass. So I think
Nice little corner here, like he's only played 70 minutes in the league this season. He hasn't played at all since September. Obviously, it's quite precious, one of 2 loan slots you get. Can that deal still work for you and for the player?
For Maxwell? Yeah. I think it would just depend on what happens in the next month, really. He's been injured, obviously, so he's trained the last couple of days. I don't think he's quite ready to be in the squad, but we'll assess it moving forward. But he's coming to play, so I don't think he'll be happy at not playing. Ideally, it would work out for everyone we sign and everyone plays, and it looks good on them and on us, and it's good for them and good for us, but it doesn't always work out like that. So we'll just have to wait and see. I think we'll assess it over the next 3 or 4 weeks. How much he plays in between that time will dictate, I'm sure, what happens in January. We'll have to wait and see. Just on that perception reality one, like the long pass thing, we had someone complain about Matt Gill smoking a vape on the sideline on Sunday because they seen it on the screen. So that's not reality. He was talking in the mic. I don't think he's been driven to that yet, but this is how ridiculous it can be. So I think, me getting angry at a long pass is probably as laughable as Gilly smoking a vape in the dugout, to be fair.
Can I ask a couple more quick ones? Ross Stewart, Juan Larios and Charlie Taylor. Ross presumably still injured. How is he? How's Juan?
Yeah, Ross and Juan are not going to be ready this side of Christmas, unfortunately. They've had such bad luck. I don't really know what else to say about these two. It's not through a lack of hard work, trying, a lack of expertise in the medical department. I just think sometimes it's just bad luck. It really is. And we've seen so many consultants about both of them. We have people working with them. We've sent them different places, and now we just need to try and get them ready again for the next challenge. So Ross will be sooner than Juan, and hopefully be available in the new year. But we are just going to have to be really, really understanding everyone of how we can use him until the end of the season once he gets back fit. and it might be that he becomes a real player that we can impact games from the bench initially, rather than trying to rush him back to fully start and be playing 60, 70 minutes every week. So we'll just have to assess it, but they're both great people, and it's just really, it's part of the game. It's a really upsetting part of the game, unfortunately, when people have such unfortunate luck and terrible time of injury. So, but we'll do all we can. The guys are in as good a place they can be mentally in terms of where they're at, and we just have to make sure. And with Charlie's just we've changed shape, which probably hasn't helped Charlie. Also, Kyle Walker-Peters played so well on the left, which has been difficult for him. But Charlie's a brilliant person and a brilliant teammate. So again, it's just another one we have to just try and keep ready for the time that we're going to need him. So we need everyone. And if he doesn't play at all between now and whenever, then it'll be another conversation. But he's trains brilliantly, a brilliant pro, brilliant person. So he'll just be a bit frustrated at the minute that he hasn't played as much as he would have liked.
Very finally, if I can, just has there been any change to the situation with Arnaud Bella-Kotchap given Jan Bennett's injury?
No, not at the moment.
What's not happening for there to be a change there?
Nothing. I just think we have 4 other centre halves. Flynn has played there for us at Swansea as well. I think it's about playing style and fit. That is all it's about. It's never personal. And so Armel is really clear in his situation. We've spoke a lot and been honest with each other, and I'm sure he's another one that will see what the situation is in January.